Everyone has a unique gift, and Mike, the creator of the One Life podcast, believes most people don't know how to use their gifts or what they are. Mike wants you to see things from a different perspective and be true to yourself. The One Life podcast, it inspires, motivates, and creates positive energy, love, and compassion to all communities. We only have one life to live. Be yourself and live your truth. Add the One Life podcast to your playlist. That's the number one, NE Life. Available on Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple Podcast, and your favorite podcast platform.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to the One Life Podcast. I am Mike M.I.C. Reed, and today we have my friend over here, Tia from Tia B Thriftin. Yeah. Tia B Thriftin, that's a dope name.
Thank you.
Also from Pretty Little Poppy.
Yes.
How you doing today?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing amazing. It's Friday.
It is.
You know what? I am doing amazing because once I come and I do my show on a Friday, I'm better. But my day's been a little stressful. You know, I'm a student mentor at schools, not a middle school. Well, I do have middle schools, but today I was at an elementary school. And wow, when I tell you these kids in this generation, it's really no joke.
Yeah, it's a different type of, I don't know, once you work with kids, it seems like they build you up in a particular way, but you also feel a bit drained at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's very rewarding that way as well, but you do need breaks.
No, we definitely need breaks. But you know, this crazy thing about it is, because I know our parents said that about us, right?
Yes.
So now we're saying it about the next generation.
Yeah.
So is it really true that this next generation is different? Like, I mean, I think they are, but they're nothing like us. But
Well, absolutely. But I think that's what we need, is evolution. And I think that's what it is. But the change is so close to us, it feels uncomfortable. I feel, and I think that's what the challenge is with each generation. The change is it's so close to us that it makes us uncomfortable, like a lot of change does with the transition. You know, just because it's something new, and I think that we've been conditioned in our society to fear what's new, because it works for us as kids, but it no longer serves us as adults. You know, and so it's hard to kind of to get out of that habit.
That's a great way to look at it. I never heard nobody, and I worked with kids for many years, and I've never heard nobody put in that perspective. Yeah. Because you are right. Change. No one likes change. No, because everybody's afraid of the unknown.
Yes.
Right. It's like kind of like the Steve Harvey jump video. I don't know if you ever saw that. No. Oh, it's a motivational video. It's like 9 minutes long, 13 minutes long, but it's called Jump. Just look up Steve Harvey Jump. Okay. He did it one day. You know, he hosts what is it? The TV show, that game show. Oh my God. What is the game show? Steve Harvey. Where's the game show? Steve Harvey. Family Feud. Yeah, Family Feud. Right, but he was on intermission. You saw that video, the jump. Yeah, so he was on intermission during taping, and he just gave this motivational speech to the audience, and it went viral. But it's a so true speech. So jump, it's all about, he's telling people, like, just don't exist in the world. You have to jump. You have to live, right? Yes. If you stand on the edge, then you're never going to live. You're just existing. But you see everybody else soaring through the world and, you know, whatever. He said, when you jump, you're going to hit the rocks. You're going to get scrapes, bruises, and bumps. It's going to be rough, right? But at some point, you're going to soar. So he's saying basically like an eagle, whatever. You're going to soar, and you're going to be all right. Yeah. But most people live on that edge, and they're afraid to jump because of the unknown, because they're scared to jump. Yes. But you have to jump, he said, unless you're just going to just exist without living, and most people don't live.
That's what growth is about,
right? For
sure.
So anyways, let's talk about real quick, I want to get into your story, because I believe you have an amazing story, but I want to talk about TB Thriftin. Is it Tia? What's the B? Or can we know?
Yeah, no, B it's like a verb. I like that within Black culture, and the language "be" it can be you can use it in so many different ways.
Oh, like I'd be chilling.
Yes.
Oh, okay, I got it. So I thought it was a name for something.
Yeah, I like the "be" because eventually, my son now has his own business selling Pokemon cards, Pokemon merch, and things like that. So originally we were going to do it together, and his name is Braxton. So I was going to do Tia B, like Tia and Braxton type thing. And so he's doing his own thing now. So I was like, well, that's cool. It still works.
Right. So what is TB Thriftin?
One of my special interests is thrifting. I've been thrifting for a really long time, like since I was a kid, just for fun. You know, first time my grandparents took me to the flea market. And so I've been doing that, just curating thrifted outfits. I specialize in denim because it's classic, timeless. I upcycle, and I create style packages for people as well. So like if you don't know what to do when you're thrifting, if it takes you too long, if it's overwhelming for you, I can put some outfits together. If you're interested in that, matching your style, if you want a wardrobe change, anything like that.
Oh, and you're wearing one of your outfits.
Yes,
which is pretty dope.
Thank you. I paint as well. I make patches. I'm very crafty. I've always been crafty. So I like incorporating all the different types of arts and mediums that I've learned over the years into the clothes. So
let me ask you this: what got you? And I know you said when you was younger, your grandmother got you to start taking you to thrifting.
Yes.
But what got you into turning it into a business?
Because it's something that people would stop me for whenever I went out. So, you know, where'd you get that from? Who made it? Who painted that? How'd you do it? Yeah. And so it wasn't an intention of mine to do that. It's something that came about, and because I do it on a regular basis, I paint my clothes sometimes in the morning. I just, depending on how I feel. If I had a bad day, I'll wear the same thing again that I wore the day before because I feel like I'm restarting the day. Right. You know what I mean? Like it just, it all depends on how I feel. Yeah. And so I would like to share that with people. And really the point of the whole thing, the reason why I decided to do it as a business is because I wanted to push authenticity. And that's why I like custom work. If what's authentic to me isn't authentic to you, let's talk about it and we can put something together. So that's really the point that drives it, is me wanting to push other people to being authentic. I do not believe that we're all supposed to look, sound, believe the same things. I don't think we're supposed to be the same. So I just want to push that.
Wow. You know, it's funny because, and I don't like to preach, right? And I don't know what your faith is, but I always tell people that because people are always like down in other people's looks or what they want to do about their life. And I'm like, look, and then it's crazy because they always bring God into it, right? And I'm like, look, don't you think if God wanted everybody the same, he would have made everybody the same? If he created the earth, the sun, and the moons and all that, don't you think he could have created all of us the same?
Listen, I have so many things to say
speak on it.
about that. Because I'll tell you one thing. If you think about it, okay, anytime, let's say I tell you, you have on black. Ugh, I hate blue. Right. I hate that color. Why would you wear that? You're not going to take any you're going to assume I'm crazy because it has nothing to do with you. Right. So when you go out and someone says, "Oh, I hate that hat," that has nothing to do with you. Ask them how they feel about their own hat or what they're wearing. Right. Right. Before you point a finger at someone else, you got to use the finger to hold a mirror and look at yourself and figure out why that one thing is bothering you so much and everything else you allow to pass you by. It's because whatever that person is, like people will talk about what you're wearing because you are authentic and they struggle with authenticity. Exactly. You see? And so because otherwise it has nothing to do with you. It doesn't. Yeah. You're going to stop everything that you feel has something to do with you. It's and people, what they do is, and you're 100% right. People project their fears onto other people. Absolutely. Just because they can't do something or because they wanted to do that but they couldn't, they don't like it all of a sudden. Yes, they don't like it. Or it's scary. Yeah. Because it's different. And so then that means that if you're authentic and I'm afraid to be, what does that mean for me? Yeah. That leaves me in a very isolated place. Wow. If I'm afraid to be myself, you know, and so that, and if you notice, you know, I tell my kids, like, of course, you know, hurt people. And so if they're hurting you, it's not because it's you that is hurting them. It's because they're already hurting when they saw you. Yeah. And it's something with you that triggered the thing in them. You know, for example, so if I say, did you steal that? Well, no, do you steal? You know, chances are you do if you're accusing someone and they don't, you know. And so with authenticity, it's I use the word push because people are, like you said, they're afraid to jump. And for a lot of people, being original, their original selves is jumping.
Yeah.
And if they see someone out there jumping and they feel like they can't because of what they tell themselves, whatever belief you have, if you're burdened by something, it is because it's someone else's burden that you're holding on to. Our burdens don't weigh anything.
Oh, absolutely.
It's someone else's, you know, burden that you're holding on to. And so if you say, oh, this is bothering me, it's stressing me, it's someone else's problem that you've decided to take on yourself because you feel like it's serving you in some type of way.
But you know where else that comes from? It comes from where, like I read a lot, right? And I'm into neuroscience now and how the brain works and family systems.
Yes.
And I've talked about this before. We're all part of a we system or an I system, right? So, for instance, when you're born, you're part of the we system.
Yes.
Like everything was given to you at birth. Your name, your values, your beliefs, everything. Somebody told you at birth who you was.
Yes.
Until you break out of that we system, like whoever raised you, whether it's your mom, dad, your uncles, your neighborhood, your environment, whoever raised you told you who you was. So until you become an adult and you get out of that, then you become the I system. But so most people with fears and all this stuff, they're still part of that we system because somebody told them, no, you can't do that. You're not going to be nothing.
Absolutely.
You're not going to grow up to be no rapper or some blah, 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 or you can't do that. You're never going to make no money. You're never going to be a ball player.
Yes.
Somebody told them that and they believed it. Right?
Yep.
That in a deeper conversation, that's where all that comes from.
Yes. You're a belief thief, you know, like you're taking beliefs that aren't even yours. You know,
right? Because
yes,
somebody projected
absolutely.
their fears onto them, and it's a generational thing. And you know, and it's crazy because I actually had this conversation with somebody at a school that I was with about a month ago, and they asked me a question. They said, "Can what is it?" He said, "Can fear? No, not fear, but he said, can trauma be transferred or transformed with DNA?
Yes,
mean generational DNA.
Absolutely. Yes,
I thought, well, it's DNA. Like that's just a generational mindset thing.
Yes.
But is it really in the DNA? Mm-hmm. That's crazy.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Because it changes our makeup. Mm-hmm. It changes, you know, like our brain structure. If you think about it, the chemicals in our brains, everything that whatever makes our bodies what it is that way. Whatever changes it, it's done. It's changed. Right. It's a part of us. Yeah. And then we pass that. And it speaks to conception. You know, we pass down everything we have, you know, to our kids, and whether it manifests in a particular way that we notice or not, it's there.
Right.
You know, so I absolutely, the traumas, and that's why we work so hard at undoing trauma, not as a whole. You know, we throw the concept of self-care at issues or challenges that require community care. Mm-hmm. And so sometimes things require community care, and some things it requires self-care. Right. And so the thing that we're throwing, we're saying, okay, as a collective, as a culture, we have to deal with these things. But what it is self. Mm-hmm. We have to deal with those things individually, because we're touching on to authenticity and accepting ourselves for who and what we are, even though we may not fit in the box they said we would.
Right.
You know, and I think that's the trouble, is dealing with the mass trauma that's been passed down generationally, you know, genetically, and then we're like, reparations. Yes, that can definitely be a thing as far as accountability is concerned, but individual confidence, individual, I am something without you. I am something without the things that you call something, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
You know, so that's, yeah.
How, I mean, you brought up community.
Yeah.
I think you touched on it a minute ago, but how do one change that DNA trauma? Like, is it possible?
I believe so, but it's not in the way that we all agree on, right? So I believe that letting things go is the best way to move forward. But then we say, well, how do we know that it's not going to happen again? And that's the thing, is that we're still in this war mentality. We're still in this battle mentality. If I don't want it, I take it, type thing. Our mental structure, the way that we deal with each other, that is what has to change collectively. But I believe letting things go, because when you harbor, okay, here's the thing: if someone hurt your feelings, okay, and you keep, and let's say it happened 20 years ago, you think about it every day, right? A belief is just a thought you keep thinking, right? And so you're thinking about it, well, it's still living, it's still active in you. Yeah. Your body, your brain doesn't know the difference. So if you say, okay, I'm full, you haven't eaten, but you say I'm full, and you believe that you're full, your brain doesn't know that it's going to believe what you're saying, what you're putting into it. Right, so our mind rules everything. So if we're out and it's cold outside, but we tell ourselves we're warm, if you convince yourself, your brain will respond in that way. Like, yes, we're I am warm. If you let something go, it's no longer a bother to you. If you truly feel the pain, that it's meant to steer you in the direction toward what you want and what you don't want, and you let go what you don't want, how could you not grow? You know what I mean? So how do you not move forward if you let go of what is hurting you?
So I'm reading a book right now that's called Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself.
Yes. Wait, don't tell me. Is that Joe Dispenza?
Yeah, yes. I'm reading that book right now.
I love him. Yeah.
So that book, that's why I say I'm into neuroscience and all that, because it teaches you all that stuff about all that.
Wire the brain.
Yeah. So and so the quote that I mentioned earlier about family systems, about the we system, I system, is from a book called The Bradshaw, which is very similar to Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. Yes. So I'm into those type of books. That's why I read them. But the other day I posted a quote from Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. And it says, remember that 95% of who we are by age 35 sits in the same subconscious system memory in which the body automatically runs a programmed set of behaviors and emotional reactions. In other words, the body is running the show.
That's right.
I mean, your mind isn't running the show.
Yes.
Your body is.
Yes.
Because of all the thoughts and the program and the habit loops that you created in your prefrontal cortex. So it's your body that's running the show. It's like when you know you're doing something like, oh my God, my mind just went blank, but automatic.
Yes. Like
you get up, what do you do first thing in the morning? Brush your teeth, wash your face, all this stuff, right? It's all automatic. You don't have to think about this stuff.
Right.
Right? So it's just natural things that your body is just doing.
Right. But those are things that your body does when you are unaware. That's like when you're asleep. That's like zombie mode.
Yeah.
When you're unconscious.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So to speak. You're conscious. But you're not aware. And so like that's really good. The first thing you do, you wake up, yes, you brush your teeth, but how do you feel in the morning? Like, and that's why I say mind, because it's over and over. If like I was talking about beliefs before, everything that you say, if you keep saying I'm hot,
yeah, you're gonna be hot.
You're gonna feel hot.
It could be 30 degrees outside. You're gonna be hot.
Yeah, exactly. And so and then our bodies are responding in that way. Yeah, absolutely. And our bodies respond to what is constantly running, over and over again.
That's why people, I'm constantly not preaching, but telling people like your thoughts are your reality. Your thoughts is your life. So if you think about, and so when people are like, why am I going through this? Well, okay, what are you thinking?
Yes.
Like, are you going home and being negative and having these negative thoughts? Then that's your reality.
Yes.
That's you. Stop thinking all that stuff.
Yes.
I'm telling you, if you stop thinking all that stuff, your life will change drastically.
Yes. Yeah. Just in everyday routine, I would challenge anyone to think something different. In the morning, even if you, just to be aware of how you feel and why. When you wake up in the morning, is the sun shining? What's happening? How, What type of day would you like to have? Do you see yourself having the day you want? Do you see yourself getting the parking spot that you want,
Right.
at work? Or are you dreading getting oh God, somebody that, take my spot. I'm going to have to walk out. People say all the time, if it's not one thing, it's another. Well, yeah, if you keep saying that, it's going to continue that way. Right. Think about all the little things we tell ourselves every day.
Right. And something that I learned in positive psychology is we have to, like, when something's going wrong, if let's say your day is going bad, right? And us as human beings, we always assume, right? But instead of assuming, why don't you say, you know what do I actually know? I know I woke up this morning. What's actually working well? I know I woke up this morning. I had clean clothes on.
That's right.
I had a roof over my head.
Stick to the facts.
Stick to the facts.
Yeah.
What do we know? What's the facts?
Yep.
Don't assume.
Right.
If you do these simple little things, your mindset will change.
Yes.
And you'll start seeing results of that.
Yeah. Even when things do happen, let's say you didn't get the spot that you wanted,
Right.
just like you said, you put yourself in the back. Oh, well, stick to the facts. Well, you did need to get your steps in today.
Yeah.
You were saying that you were feeling a bit sluggish.
Yeah.
You were having a hard time sleeping the other night, right? And don't our doctors say, the best way to beat insomnia, depression, fatigue, and all is exercise.
Right.
So if you think about it, just in changing your perspective, like I said, even if you wanted the spot in the front and you got the one in the back, why do you think that? How do you think that's serving you?
Right.
You know what I mean? How do you think that'll work for you instead of going the opposite direction, which is the habit? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And then worry, then we worry why our shoulder is hurting, and it's like, well, what are you holding on to? You know what I mean? So like, let whatever you're holding on to, let it go. If you listen to your body, if you said my left knee is hurting, well, we hold our emotions in our joints. What are you holding on to in there? Yeah. In that joint, like what is, there's something that we need to let go. And that asks people, they're sitting like this. I don't know why my shoulder hurts.
Right.
Is that where you hold your tension?
It's crazy.
Oh, yeah.
I was, the other day, I was in an accident a few months ago, right? So I'm still going through a chiropractor and massages. And I had a massage Wednesday. And the masseuse, my shoulders was burning. Because that day, my massage was like around 3 o'clock. That day I went through I had so much stress on me. And the moment I walked into the masseuse place, like my shoulders was burning. And she started rubbing my shoulders, right? And rubbing my back. And she immediately knew. She was like, you had a rough day, huh? I was like, yes. I said, I'm still having a rough day right now.
Still
she
going.
was like, no, for real. And to the moment I walked
Right.
in there, like I was on the phone with somebody, it was happening. Mm-hmm. And she felt it immediately. And my shoulders literally was burning. And, at the end of it, she made me feel a little better. But that's crazy. Like, people don't realize that. Like, why your shoulders hurting?
Yeah.
Let go.
Yes. What you holding on to. I mean, and it goes back to what I was saying before. Like, I know people, it's an unpopular opinion about moving from generational trauma.
Yeah.
But it really is. Once you let things go, our pain, there are certain things that only certain populations get, certain diseases, certain ailments. Why? Why is that? Yes, our bodies are made in a particular way, but what is going on? Mm-hmm. Like you said, there's a mind-body connection. What is the common denominator here? And so I feel like collectively, if we let things go, we'll start to also let our these ailments go as well.
It's crazy. So whenever I go to and I do speeches or I do interviews or anything, people always ask you, Mike, what would you do? What would you tell your younger self, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm constantly saying, I would tell my younger self, start reading early. Like reading. Like I never loved to read. Never liked to read, never in school, even as a young adult. I think I started reading when I was like 35. Right? I picked up, somebody gave me a book because it was about spirituality and energy. And I, at the time, I happened to just be getting into like Zen and Buddhism. Mm-hmm. And so I started studying that. And my first book was The Buddha in Your Mirror. Yeah, and I read that book, and it just blew my mind. But it was a book that I held in my hand, and I read it 3 times. And from there, I loved reading books. Prior to that, I was doing audios because I was traveling from here to the valley. So I was just doing an audio book. But ever since that first book, I don't even like audiobooks no more. I have to have a book in my hand.
Yeah.
Like, but reading and understanding like your mind, your body, and how things work. Like even when you're going through something, like, and we're gonna get into your story in a minute about like MS. Like you had to study all that.
Yeah.
And you became very knowledgeable about it.
Yeah, you have to advocate for yourself.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but that's the same thing in life. Advocate for just your life. Like understand how the brain works. Understand like why you're going through something.
Yes.
Like don't just assume, oh, the world's messed up.
Yes.
I don't like my job because I don't like these people. They treat me wrong. Or about, you know what I'm saying? How about understanding behavior?
Yeah.
And the one thing I teach, you know, 'cause I work at a school and I'm a mentor, I teach my mentors and my students, don't take behavior personal. Like how you said, people project things onto you. People don't like something because they don't like it.
Yeah.
They don't like that jean jacket because they don't like jeans.
Yeah,
whatever.
right.
You know, it's like don't take behavior personal because it has nothing to do with you.
Yes.
It has something to do with what they're going through. You don't know what they're going through, but you're taking it personal.
Yeah.
Don't take behavior personal.
Right.
Like, and especially if you know you didn't do nothing.
Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely. The advice to your younger self is really is something because it helps us to not it helps us to accept where we are now and to not judge ourselves for what we did not know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I would definitely say not caring what people think. Ugh,
Yeah.
I really wish I understood that concept. I didn't understand what it meant to not care what people thought. I thought I didn't care at the time because people were like things were going my way, but you don't realize that how much you do care when things stop going your way.
Yeah.
So actually being in a space now in my life where I really don't care what people think, you know, truly is I wish I could bottle it up and give it out. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's wild. But
That
and having
that's a great piece of advice, is not caring. And that's something that I deal with in the schools every day, because dealing with elementary and middle schools, that's all they do is sit there and gossip and spread rumors. That stuff that's not even true. And it's like, why do you care?
Yes. Yeah.
I had this one student, she got in trouble, and I said, because this girl said something to her and she said something back, but she got in trouble because what she said back was 10 times worse. So it's like, now you're in trouble. But I asked her, I had to pull her aside, and I was like, you know, one, how did it make you feel when she said that, right? You know, because we practice restorative practices and that sort of thing. So we repair harm. So I was asking her, you know, how did it make her feel? And she was like, honestly, I really didn't care what she said. And I was like, then why did you respond to it?
Yeah.
Like, why did you respond to it if you didn't care? Yeah. She was like, because you said it. I felt like I needed to say something back, and I was like, okay.
But they're taught.
Yeah. But you didn't make the right choice. Like, so next time that happened, what's the correct choice to make? Oh yeah, well I would have walked away and told the teacher. Exactly.
Yeah, and I think we don't teach people, you know, to do what is right for them, you know, so they don't think what's best for me in this situation. They're focused on the other person,
right? You
know, it's like what you're saying. They're focused on something else or someone else outside of themselves, you know. So that's yeah, and I really adults, we all do this. I tell my kids, like, if you can't handle what's going on at school, you got to brace yourself, because the same thing is going on in adulthood. You know what I mean? And so it helps. Yeah.
I try to tell these kids all the time, like, you guys really have it easy. Like, you're not ready for adult. And mind you, I said I'm at elementary. Like, I was just talking to a class last week, and I said, you guys still got middle school and high school to go through. Yeah. If you think this is bad. Yeah. Wow. Like, yeah, you're not ready. Going. You're not ready. Yeah, you're not ready.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It keeps going. Yeah. Like, my main thing is just don't make it harder for yourself. Right. You know what I mean? It's like that, you know, we make decisions. We all do. We make decisions against ourselves. Like I was saying before, because it whatever the behavior was used to serve us. Yeah. You know, we continue to do things that no longer serve us because that's just in our cycle. Yeah. You know. And
that's why, you know, me and my team, we always ask a kid, are we going to make good choices today? Like, we talk to them every morning, like, are we going to make good choices? Because it's a choice. Yes. Like, these kids are smart. You know what you're doing. Yeah. So are you going to make a good choice today or a bad choice? Like, what are we going to do today? Yeah. You know, and
I ask myself that every morning.
No, right. I have to ask myself today too.
You know, okay, what's going on today?
You know, and then I, tell the kids, about putting themselves in bad situations. And I'm constantly talking to, especially like the boys, like, dude, if all eyes on you, why do you want to be a center of attention today? All eyes are on you. So anything you do, you're going to get named out.
Yeah.
I said, chill out. All eyes are on you today because of what you did yesterday. So
lay low.
Play cool, lay low, play the game. You know what I'm saying? And I'm telling the boys that, like, dude, like, you guys are not playing the game correctly.
Yeah.
You know all eyes are on you.
Yeah.
Because you just got suspended. Everybody's looking at you. Yes. So whenever something happens, they always point the finger at you. But I didn't do it. Okay, cool. Lay low.
Do you think I'm sorry.
Stop being the center of attraction, but go ahead.
Yeah. I was going to say, do you think that that's an attention thing? Like they
100%.
Yes.
100%. I know it's an attention thing.
Yeah.
And me and the behavior team, we talk about that all the time. Like we sit there and talk to a student, and then we look at each other and be like, yeah, they just want attention today. Mm-hmm. One of my executives, and I said this before, put out a quote on one of our Slack channels. He said, there's two type of kids. One that comes to school to learn, and the other that come to school to get love because they don't have that at home. And so they're seeking for that attention.
Yes.
So, yeah, 100%.
Wow.
And we know it because of the stories they tell, because of what they do to get the attention. It's like, so we have to correct that behavior.
I understand.
But it's hard because, like this one girl today, she was just screaming. She wouldn't stop screaming. Like, talking about we not listening to her. And it's like, we are listening to you. And in those situations, you say less is better, right? She just wanted to vent. She just wanted to vent. Somebody said something to her, so she was mad. She just needed to vent. So me and one of the behavior teams, we sat her down at a bench away from the situation, and we just let her vent. We asked her if she wanted to go walk. No, she don't want to go walk. You want to go see a counselor? No, I don't want to go see a counselor. You guys not doing nothing to me. You guys not listening to me. And she's screaming at the top of her lungs. So we're like, okay, cool. We're just going to sit here until you're ready to talk. Just let her, and in those situations, that's the best scenario.
Yes.
Because we have to regulate the student first, let them, invalidate what she's saying, and I kept reassuring her. So I understand you're frustrated. Yeah. It's okay. And I let her know, it's okay. I understand you're frustrated because nothing's being done according to you. And I understand that. So. Yeah. But she didn't want to do anything we was telling her to do, so we was like, okay, well, we're right here when you're ready to talk.
Yeah. Sometimes it's like things bubble up, and it feels like it just you just have to get it out, and that's it. And that's why it seems like that's why nothing else will help. Right. It's because the only thing you have to do is to get it out. Yeah. And once it's out, you can feel it, right?
100%.
It's like, oh, okay, I was feeling like that. Now I feel a little better. Or, now that I said it out loud, I kind of hear it and okay, I can see now. And then when it's silent, your behavior is magnified.
Right. And it's crazy because an hour later, she was best friends with the girls again.
You had to get it out.
Right. As I was walking, because I was off at this point, and she was in the office. They was laughing, having fun in the office, and I'm walking out, and I actually pulled her to the side, and I said, hey, I heard what you said earlier. I just want you to know you was heard, and I'm going to look into why you feel like nothing has been done. So I'm going to let you know on Monday what actually has been done, but I want you to know that you was heard.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to, because it really hurt, even though she was seeking attention, it still hurts me that she feels like she's not being heard.
Sure, unmet needs.
You know what I mean? Because there got to be some truth to that.
Yes.
And I don't want her one day to go down the wrong road because she feels like no one's listening.
Yes.
That's the worst thing, the possible outcome.
Yeah.
So I felt like I needed to tell her that, like, hey, you was heard.
Yeah.
Like, I wanted you to know you're heard.
Yeah.
Hopefully, that meant something to her. And
yeah, I think if it's met with consistency, I think if authenticity is met with consistency, it's like it manifests into like some type of tangible action. You know what I mean? Even if whatever, even if it's just me reaching out saying, hey, how you doing, consistently. Hey, you still feel like that? You feel better since? Okay, cool. Even if it's just that and it's consistent, you know what I mean? Because that's what we lack. You know, it's consistency, and that's when we know that something is real. And kids, they crave discipline. You know what I mean? Because discipline is consistency.
Yeah.
You know, and because that's stability. So
right.
Yeah, I can.
You have kids, right?
Yes.
How many kids?
16 and 13.
16 and 13. Okay. Oh, so your kids are still young.
Yeah. My son is 13 and my daughter is 16. My son will be going into high school next year, so it'll be her last year of high school. So
okay. So you're still going through it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's been good though. It's good. Yeah, it's good. They're really good. And I say that because they express themselves very well. They communicate very well. And the thing that I'm most proud of with them is that they are not afraid to tell me if I've done something.
Oh, I love that.
You know what I mean? That, you know,
that.
And I tell them, like, how can I be a better mom? Like, is there some other things I could do to be better? You know, let me know. And I'm really proud of the fact that they can come to me and tell me how they feel if they don't like something, or they can tell me if they disagree, and that really makes me proud.
See, that's dope, and I love that you instilled that into them, because I was just talking to one of the community liaison people at one of the elementary yesterday. Matter of fact, we was talking about how when we was young, we was always taught to never speak until spoken to.
Yes.
But we was never spoken to.
Yes.
Right?
The little kid's table, okay.
Right. So that's why most adults don't know how to use their voices. And even some kids nowadays, they don't use their voices because that is still instilled into them. Like, even with grandparents are the first to be like, don't speak to if someone spoke to you, right? Mm-hmm. So it's like, I'm not a big fan of that, because you're taking away their voice.
Yes.
You have to listen to these kids.
Yeah, and we're raising people pleasers in the process. You know, we don't want that.
Right, we don't want that.
That's the thing. And they're so unhappy. You can't be. It always goes back to authenticity, just being yourself. And like I was saying, you know, stealing other people's beliefs. It's like you don't wear that because you want to. You wear that because that's what you feel like you have to do, or you know, you have to wear. You said that because you have to. You don't feel that way, but you. So by taking away who, you know, their identity, and that's what it does. It you know, like you're saying, just takes away their identity, and then what do they have left? They're just a shell. Yeah. You know, and then we talk about the generations, and it's like, well, we've left a shell. Mm-hmm. You know, that we didn't even give them space to be a whole person. Right. You know what I mean? I mean, at a young age, we just kind of cut them off. Mm-hmm. You know, and then we complain about these people that we created. Right. You know, that part. Yeah. So, like, well, we raised them, so we should maybe take some accountability. But I think, absolutely. That's crazy. You know, I was raised on the Bible Belt. You know, in Missouri, St. Louis. So and my dad was a pastor. Mm. You know, you talk about. Yeah, you know, the rules. Right. Absolutely. You know, not being able to wear what you want to wear, or being harshly judged for it. You know, not speaking like everyone. I wasn't allowed to speak with an accent like my friends. You know what I mean? And my mom was like, "No, you don't do that. You know, you don't talk like that." And so from a young age, you just don't just yes, no, yes, no. Mm. You know, and so going back to what you were saying about the kids, and then receiving attention, you know, I always wonder what are they allowed to be? Who are they allowed to be? Right. Are they only allowed to be like you, or again,
going back them, to, you know, people are who someone told them they are.
Yes, absolutely.
That's what it is.
Yes.
Someone told you who you are. Yes. And you ran with it.
Yes. Yeah. And then we wonder why, you know, depression is rampant. Yeah. You know, right now. And it's that's the thing, is like, can we just be whole, you know, wholly us, you know? Yeah.
Wow. You need your own talk show.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. I talk a lot.
No, but it's great though, because you're very knowledgeable and very educated, and like, you think outside the box, and that's what we need. Like, we need voices like that.
Thank you.
100%.
I appreciate that.
Because I want to keep going and talk about this subject, but I want to get to your story.
Oh, yeah.
I want to get to your story because you do have an amazing story. So let's switch gears and get back to talk about your story.
Okay.
So you was, I don't know. Well, I forgot when you was diagnosed, but you have MS.
Yes.
I want to talk about, because when I met you and we was talking, I know I met you a while ago, but then I didn't really know your story. I know Brenda and Nicole kept telling me, you need to talk to Tia. You need to talk to Tia. She has an amazing story. But when I was talking to you like a month or so ago, you mentioned something to me, and you said at one point in your life you was paralyzed.
Yeah.
But I'm looking at you moving around, walking, and I'm like, what? Yeah. I'm like, what do you mean you paralyzed? Like, so I want to know your story. So
yeah, I say it now, and I will definitely get to that. But I do say now, it was before I didn't talk about it at all. I never said that once I was walking, I never said I have met, never talked about it. But then it got to the point where people would see pictures or see me with a cane one day and be like, what are you doing? You know, so it made sense to me. Okay, I should start saying, talking about it. So yes, I was diagnosed. I'm 40 now. I was diagnosed when I was 27. At the time, I had just moved from Rancho Cucamonga. I moved my family to Carson, and my mom and I were going to start a business, right? And so I started a private school, and because I couldn't afford private school at the time for my kids, and so I started a private school, and I was in the process of figuring everything out. We were going to start it in the house, we were figuring out the just getting all the licensing permits and all that together. And that's when I started feeling the symptoms. I had tingling in my toes and my fingers. I was feeling some numbness in my feet, a lot of pain, like shooting pain, that over-the-counter meds weren't taking care of. A lot of fatigue. I couldn't think of words. I was stuttering. It was like a lot of things all at once. And so I went to the doctor. They couldn't find anything. So anybody diagnosed with an autoimmune disease, it is very difficult. It takes a couple years, a lot of times. So with MS, multiple sclerosis, they need to see a lesion on your body within your brain or your spinal cord, right, before they can fully diagnose it. And so it took me a lot of testing. And I was going through a relapse. I wasn't paralyzed yet. It was my first relapse. I had a lot of numbness and burning in my feet and in my hands. And so it's okay, well, we don't really see, anything. It could be this, it could be that. And so it was the second relapse I had when I became paralyzed that they did the spinal tap.
Right.
And they were able to find it. So then I was in the hospital for about a month. I went home and was just on low-dose chemo at the time to manage the relapse. And I said, well, I'm in the chair. I have nothing else to do, and so I wrote my business plan for the school. So it was like 50 pages. I did research, and that's what I did. I started the school. We started with our 2 kids and one of my mom's friends' kids, and so we started with 3 students and 2 were ours. And it grew. We put out an ad, and I'm still in a wheelchair, and we put out an ad in the local, community paper, and it took off from there. And we went from 3 kids, pretty much, where 2 were our own, and to 60 is when we shut the school down after COVID. So that's what we had, and we had a building we're leasing a building by then. And so I was in a wheelchair from 2 years. Like it was expanding, going. It was just going, and I never stopped. The thing though, depression is really common with people with MS, not because of the illness itself, but because of what comes with it, the lack of support, the fact that it's on and off. You have a walker one day and you're fine the next day,
and you don't know what's going on,
and you don't. That's just how it works, And so, the first thing people ask when they see me out of the wheelchair is, "What did I do?" And so you talk about having physical therapy, after an accident. So when I went home with it. I had a nurse that came to the house. I had a physical therapist. Everybody came to the house, occupational therapist and all that. And so I noticed everyone, they kept telling me what I couldn't do. And so, I mean, it's like a month later, and I'm like, okay, well, I asked the physical therapist, well, what can I do? Like, you guys only tell me what I can't. You can't exercise. You can't overexert yourself. You can't, you know. And so I'm like, well, what can I do? You know, what can I do? And so she said, you can stretch. I said, is that it? She said, yeah, you can stretch. And this is while I was in the chair. So I said, okay. I looked it up, and yoga popped up. And I started doing yoga ever since, you know. So I did yoga. I just stretched. I just did what I could, and which is my life motto now. You do what you can, and I just did what I could. And a raw food diet. The reason why I believe, I'm not a doctor, right? The reason why I believe that we're sick, right? We get sick. It's our mental as well, and also the fact that we have toxins in our bodies and our cells where nutrients are supposed to be, right? And so instead of the nutrients, our bodies are going in and it's like, okay, well, we need this here, we need the vitamin A, but it's vitamin A is not there. It's for example, right? It's something that's toxic, and so it goes in and it takes what's toxic, and it makes us sick. But if you replace what's toxic with something with nutrients, our bodies are taking nothing but goodness from it, and so it makes sense. So that's when I started regaining feeling, all the way down to back to burning fingers and toes, raw. And I mean like raw vegetables, raw fruits. Nothing was cooked. I tried my best not to put heat onto anything. And also not just a vegan diet, but like people say, oh, I'm vegan, it's healthier. But a lot of it is artificial also. You can't have vegan cheese. It doesn't seem good for you. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because it's still artificial. And so I just staying away from all of that, all the chemicals.
I want to tell you a story real fast. I'm going to get back to your story because that is so important. I have a friend who was diagnosed with cancer. And this is, I want to say, maybe 20 years ago. She's around my age, so I'm 54. And she didn't want to do chemo. She wasn't a fan of pills or anything like that. So she started doing research, and she came across what you said, like raw foods.
Yes.
And when I tell you, she was an R&B singer. She stopped everything. She was like, I'm about to take care of my health.
Yep.
But I'm not listening to these doctors.
Yeah.
I'm about to do my own research. She started growing her own food. She started researching what food she needed for her body that, like you said, put those natural nutritions back into her body. So she started growing her own plant-based food, and that's all she ate for years.
Yep.
Now they can't even detect cancer in her.
I believe it, because it's all we need.
Right. So if people, like when they say they need a cure for cancer and all this stuff, it's
we got it. Yeah.
Oh no, it's there.
Yeah, we got it.
It's there. You just need to stop listening to some of these doctors.
Yeah. Even still, no, because when I was sick, I had doctors tell me I was a Cedar Sinai, and I remember as I had a relapse, and I'm there like, okay, I used to work here, I worked there in liver transplant some years ago, so I'm like, I know them. They can help me. If nobody can help me, they can help me. So I go to Cedars, and the surgeon, neurologist, at the time, she was the same age as me, and she said, she looked at me, she had tears in her eyes, which is what I wasn't used to that, because doctor, they don't get emotional in that way. Yeah. And she had tears in her eyes, and she said, you're the same age as me, and I just don't know why this is happening to you. Right. I have no idea. I'm so sorry, And after that it just lit a fire in me. Like, these people have no clue. Right. I have to do this myself. Yeah. I'm the only one. And so, having said that, like they say, I have no idea what to tell you. And the answers are there. The thing about the answers is that they're not being told the answers. They don't teach that in med school. Yeah. I read an article about a woman. She was at Harvard, and she said her whole thing is the fact that she feels she didn't learn anything in Harvard med school. Wow. And she's touring everywhere saying, like, she's a treasure, saying, like, we didn't learn about these. They don't tell us about holistic methods of treatment. They don't tell us about nutrition. They don't tell us about, these things, only what's harming you and the toxic foods. But to cure yourself, she said they're not going to teach us that. And so they truly don't know, and it's not that the doctors are like, oh, I don't want to tell you, they some of them, they don't know, and they don't believe in it because it's not backed by what they know. Right. And so, the research and things, some of it is they feel is not there at in the capacity that they need it to be. Right. But that's it. And so, anybody out there that is sick, that is just simply not feeling well, I would challenge them for sure to change their diets and just to see. And I always say, like, if you haven't tried it, you're like, did you try it? Yeah. You know, people say, I don't want to. Did you try it?
Right.
You know, past a week, and after, you know, you got through the nasty phase, you know, like the ugly phase, and after you got all the toxins out, did you try that? You know, or did you give up after the first week? You know, and I would really, and because it is difficult, and we don't. You're not motivated to do anything like that until you are looking at a wheelchair, until you're looking at. I started to dream. At first, I was dreaming when I was in a wheelchair. I was dreaming, having dreams that I was still walking, and then I started having dreams that I was in a chair, and I was like, oh no, I don't see this for myself, you know. And so it was accumulation of things that was just like, you know what, no, I got to do this for myself. But I would challenge anybody to change your diet and just see. Like, just watch and see what juicing, even just starting with juicing, starting with smoothies, you know.
And most importantly, believe in yourself. If you know you can do it, do it.
Yeah, and that's part of advocating, because there are going to be times it's really difficult, you know, when they see you out having a good time and then there's a meeting and you're like, I woke up feeling terrible, I got to miss it. Oh, the first thing they'll say, oh, well, you felt fine at the party last week. Right. I saw you on Instagram. You felt fine then, but you can't come to my thing. It's all the time. Yeah. It's all the time. And that's where not caring about what people think really comes into play. Because if you worry about things like that, you will be defeated before you start. Yeah. You know what I mean? The people that don't know the diagnosis, that won't look into it, won't research it. You give people books and you give people, you know, links and things like that. And no, absolutely not. We advocate for ourselves.
And I had to do that a couple of times for my son. Like I told you earlier, you know, he has cerebral palsy. And when I tell you, the first time we had to advocate for him was when he was at UCLA, and the head of cerebral palsy, the head doctor over there for CP, told him he would never walk. Mm. And we took that, but then, because, you know, he had to go through a few surgeries because of growth spurts. So they would have to, because his legs was really scissored, right? And they was. And I'm pretty sure, like, that's what the doctor was taught, like, okay, if they're that scissored, like, he's never going to walk. Right. So they had to cut his legs and rotate them, like, every few years because of growth spurts. So I think it was the second time that he got his legs cut and rotated. And, you know, I went to physical therapy with him 3 times a week, was doing exercises with him. He's had the same physical therapist all his life, which was so great.
Yeah, that's fortunate.
Yeah, like, so she knew his history. Yeah. But the second time he did it, we was working with him at this one school, and we saw him walk down the hallway one day with nothing. And we like, oh.
We're doing this now.
You're going to walk.
Yeah. Right.
And it was only like maybe 10 steps, right? Mm-hmm. But we took those 10 steps. We were like, okay, let me see you do 20. And in a couple of days, he did 20.
Wow.
It was to a point where, and I got it on video, right? He walked out of the classroom, down the hall, out to the football field, around the track, back into the hall, back to the classroom.
Wow, this is me now.
Right?
Wow.
And
it's amazing.
Yeah, and I'm thinking, okay, somebody told me you could never walk. Mm-hmm. That was pretty amazing right now.
Absolutely.
And I'm glad I had my video camera that day and I recorded it.
Yes, absolutely.
And I show him that now, and I used to show it to him all the time, like, especially like after his 3rd and 4th cut, because now he got older. And going to physical therapy, I get it. It's draining. Mm-hmm. It's like, now I got to learn how to walk again. I got to do all this all over again, you know, and it takes months and months to do it. So I had to show him, like, dude, like, you can do this. Like, you've already set the bar.
Yes.
You did this once.
Yeah.
Like, don't let your mind play tricks on you. I know you're tired. I know you're drained. It's frustrating, but you can do this.
Right.
Right. So I had to constantly show him that. But then the second time I had to advocate for him was he was just coming out elementary, and we was trying to get him to go to a regular middle school because they was in special ed schools, and all they did was color all day. And me and my ex-wife at the time were telling them, like the school, like, hey, you have to challenge him. Yeah. Our son, we know our son. He's smart.
Yeah.
At 2 years old, he was getting out of the bed, grabbing a VCR videotape, putting it in the VCR, turning on the TV, playing his favorite show, like doing this all on his own. Like, I know he's smart. Yeah. He's just not going to color all day. Like, you got to challenge him. And we went through so many IEPs and so much red tape BS because the special ed teacher was like, oh, no, he's not going to make it through high school and blah, blah. Yeah. Okay, well, he went to middle school, graduated. Went to high school, graduated. Went to College of the Canyons and Santa Clarita College. It's like, stop telling people they're not going to do something. I get that maybe that's your belief because of what you was taught and all that, but some people, you know, they know what they can do.
Yeah. Yes.
Like, we knew our son.
Yeah.
Like, you can't tell me my son is not going to, you know, get through this school. Yeah. I know how smart he is. He needs to be challenged. Yeah. You having him color all day, it's not challenging him, and it's not going to be, it's like, what is he supposed to do with that? Yeah. So, no, like, you need to challenge him.
Yeah, absolutely. And we can have faith in, we can have faith in Western medicine and ourselves at the same time. You know what I mean? Because it's the same thing. I think I was telling you before as well, that they told me it would be the paralysis would extend from the neck down. You know, and it's one of those things that, and I know, you know, on the hospital floors, you know, everybody has similar ailments, right, on each floor. Right, you got neurology, you got, you know, organ and all that, and so on the floor it was a lot of neurological challenges. You know, everybody was suffering with some type of neurological issue. And so it was difficult being on the same floor, you know, passing, you know, physical therapist comes and you're walking with the walker, you're going in a wheelchair, whatever, down the hall, and you see pretty much the example of what the doctor is referring to when he, you know, talking about you. But like you said, before with your son, you have to, I think, rely on what you know, the facts, you know.
It does. It goes back to that. What you know.
Yeah.
Like, I know my son is smart. I've seen him do A, B, C, and D.
Right.
I know he could do more than coloring.
Right.
So
and that's what it comes to confidence. You have confidence in your son, you know, and so that's the thing, is like, wait a minute, I had to rely on what I knew, you know, about myself. Like, wait a minute, that's not, you know, what do I want? What do I think? What do I see? Right. You know, and it didn't have to be different from what the doctor said, but I just, our perception can change. You know what I mean? Because if I was going to stay in that chair, well, tell me who I'm here to help. Right. You know what I mean? Tell me who's being inspired by me sitting in this chair. You know what I mean? And then I'll write, or I'll talk, or I'll do what I can, you know.
I prefer, you know, and I get legally, like, doctors can't say, you know, oh yeah, like, they can't give you hope, right? Too much hope, because then they get sued for whatever reason, because we're in California, right? But I prefer them to not say, oh yeah, you're not going to walk ever, right? I would have preferred him say, do you want to walk? Like, this is what I can suggest. It's not a guarantee, but
not a guarantee.
You know, how do you feel about that?
Yeah.
Like, but just don't just shoot it down. Like, you'll never walk for the rest of your life. He's going to be like that for the rest of life. That's exactly what the doctor said. He's going to be like that for the rest of his life. Yeah. In a wheelchair, they said. Yeah. My son is not in a wheelchair.
And because when you cut hope off like that, you know, it's like it's for some people that need for someone else to open the door for them. Right. They need that, and you shut it. You know what I mean?
What if me and his mom wasn't those strong individuals?
Right.
Because we're both strong, and we was like, no.
Right. We'll see.
No.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, think about how our lives would have turned out.
Right.
How differently our lives could have turned out.
Right.
If we was shallow and not strong, I'd be like, okay.
This is it.
Okay, little Mikey, you're never going to walk again. Let's go pick out some wheelchairs. Like, no.
Yeah.
No.
Wow. Right. That's what it's all about. Like, you just push it. I know it sounds cliche to say, like, that's what it's all about. That really is the point.
It is.
You know, it really is. It's the point. And I see people going up and down the hallways in hospitals, and it's like, I feel like they're all saying the wrong thing. You know what I mean? I really want them to be reminded that you're still you still know who you are. You can still rely on those things and change your perspective as far as what, even if you have no support, you know, there's somebody who is looking to you.
And, you know? And I want to say that because I don't want to, I want to be mindful and be respectful for the kids that they can't.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Because my son's best friend, he has cerebral palsy as well, and they grew up together. And my son's 28 now, and he's 29, I think, or 30. One of his best friends, he's still in a wheelchair. And I get his situation. His is more severe.
Yeah.
Like my son's was mild.
Yes.
He didn't have it as severe, right? So when I say I knew my son, because I knew my son's CP wasn't severe. Yeah. Like his friend, it was very severe. Yeah. So in those situations, I have respect for that, and I get it. I'm not saying that, you know, but the thing about, even with my son's friend, he still tries. Yes. Like they still put him in this machine, and he walks with his machine because he does, and that's what I love about him. He knows it's severe. He knows he's in a wheelchair, but he still has hope. And that's what I love. It's like, give them hope. Right. Let them still. I'm all about effort. Yeah, yeah. That's a really good point. Like you know exactly where he stood. You know where your son was, and it's the same with me. I'm glad you brought that up because that is a good point. The type of MS I have is called RRMS or relapsing remitting. So it comes and goes. Right. The people that I'm referring to on that where it was worse, you know, like paralyzed from the neck down, for example, was because they had a different type of MS. Right. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so could it have gotten that worse? Yes, absolutely. Yes. You know, and so it is, and like we were saying before, you know, sticking to the facts, what do you know? What do you know? Really rest in what you know. You know what I mean? Because if it was something where it was a different type of MS and it's getting worse and worse and worse, I have because it's genetic. I have an aunt that has that form of MS as well. And she is always on the up and up, you know, like emotionally, like her body, like every time I see her from year to year, she has less function in her body. But mentally, she's on the up and up, you know what I mean? And so she doesn't feel like she's limited, right? Although she does have challenges. And that's what I mean. Like we do what we can, you know? So even in her situation, she could be a whole lot worse, but you know, but because she keeps herself, you know, she pulls herself up. It's better. You know, her quality of life is better. Right, so yeah, that's a good point. Thank you. No, yeah, and like I said, I love my son's friend because he still tries. Like that's one of his hopes and dreams. And I would always tell anybody, kid or adult, if you have a dream, never give up. Yes, you never know. Yeah. Yeah. You never know. Never lose your dreams or give up on your dream. So yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So now that you're older now, how are you dealing with it? I mean, where are you at with it? The symptoms change all the time. I don't it's important to say, I think that I still am not on a raw diet, you know? And so I still do have issues. It's very interesting how we choose how we make our choices. Yeah. But it's a lot easier because I don't worry about what people say or think. I don't worry at all. I don't think at all about being misunderstood. I no longer feel the need to over-explain or overshare why I'm here or there and when. So with that, the stress, because with autoimmune diseases, the stress is like you're allergic to stress. Yeah. Literally, like your body, you know, it acts in an adverse way when it's presented with a lot of stress, you know, and so good or bad, you know, like if you're stressed where you're excited about something or if you're upset about something. And so it's managing the stress is what gets easier. You know what I mean? And so because of that, I know when to rest. I have no problems with saying, no, I need to rest. I think that comes with age too. Yeah, definitely. Like me and Nestor were just talking about that a few weeks ago. The older we get, and I like, it's funny because I understand older people now they have zero fucks.
Yes.
Because they're older. They're like, I don't care.
Yep. And that's why I said, that's what I would tell myself when I was,
like,
my younger self, man, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It does not matter. And it put so much stress on ourselves. And I still I still have pain. Like I still go through really like painful nights. I still have shooting pain. I still need a chair to go long distances. Like I can't, Charlene had her disability walk and I couldn't walk the whole thing,
right,
Okay. And so I still need to prepare. I still need to accommodate myself.
Okay.
However, the relapses are nowhere near where they used to be. Right. Nowhere near. Like it's never that bad anymore. I've learned to manage my dehydration, my lack of nutrition absorption, all those things with more research, learning things. I got a juicer. I'm juicing, all the time. So I've replaced the sugary, the drinks with natural drinks. Replace coffee with mushroom coffee, or teas, matcha. And things like, so just like different, with maturity, right? I'm learning that I don't have to like how everything tastes. Right. And in order for it to work, for my body or for me to reach for it. Mm-hmm. And so with that, it's getting a lot better. So I'm able to manage my emotions better, which is, I feel, it's 50%, of it. So managing my stress and my emotions and managing my physical activity and my diet. Absolutely.
Yeah. Speaking of emotions, I want to go back a little bit. What got you through? And tell me if your mindset was even like this, because I know most people, when they're living a normal life, then all of a sudden, bam, I'm paralyzed. I remember talking to Charlene about her story.
Yes.
And she went through a little depression because, like, bam, all of a sudden I can't see. Like,
Yeah.
did you go through that moment? And if you did, what changed to make you say, you know what, I'm not going to give up. I'm going to advocate for myself. I'm going to do this.
Yeah, it was, I felt like I was feeling like my body had given up on me. Mm-hmm. Like I was mad at my body. I felt like it just like, I gave up on me, like, it just stopped working. I was mad at myself, and then, but I kept it inside. I didn't say anything. And then one day I was, we had our microwave that was mounted, and I couldn't reach it. And I remember thinking, like, this is it. Like, this is my life. I have to have somebody I can't do anything for myself. I can't even heat up my food. And I just broke down, and I started crying, and I was so upset. And my mom goes, what are you crying for? So I can't reach a stupid microwave. This is stupid. I hate this. And she said, what are you talking about? And she opened the microwave. She said, I'm right here. You got me. What you mean? You can do everything. What can't you do? Oh, I can't do this. And she'll go, what else can't you do?
Right.
What about all the she said, if you didn't have anybody, all right, okay, then you have to work that out on your own. You, like I said, accommodate yourself. You have to wait for somebody. Yeah, it's a bit challenging. But in talking about changing perspectives, yes, it's true that I couldn't do that for myself, but at the same time, it's also true. It's also a fact, that I have support, that I do have help, and so, and relying on that and removing the woe is me attitude with gratefulness. And I know nobody wants to hear about being thankful when things like that are happening, but I'm telling you, it's the hardest thing to switch. But when you do, you can, it's like, it feels so good. Like I said before, you want to bottle it, and give it out to people, because it's like, did you try it? And when I finally tried, kind of like switching my perspective and saying, when it came to that, I do have help. And I stopped being afraid. Hey, can you do this for me? Hey, can you open this? Hey, can you get that for me? Hey. And then it was okay, because I was still doing what I could. Right. I didn't feel like I was a burden anymore. But,
and that's a stigma that I think the whole world has, is like, people think that people have done things all by themselves. There's nobody on this earth that's ever done anything by themselves. They had some help in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
Even the most richest person, all the wealthy people with all this money, they've all had help. They didn't do it by themselves.
Yeah.
they might have had a great idea or a great business sense or whatever the case may be, but they had a team and they had help.
Yeah.
And I think that's the most important thing. They had help. Yeah. They didn't do it by themselves.
Yes.
So it's okay to ask for help.
Yes.
I have a couple of friends now. I have this one good friend, and she's amazing, and she just thinks that she has to always do it on herself. She don't like depending on nobody because when she did, she got disappointed. So now it made her stronger, and I love that about her. But now she's a little older now, and I'm like, dude, you don't have to do it by yourself. Like, I got you. And I've known this woman for 5 years now, and just this year, she's finally letting me help her. You know, and it's like, thank you.
Yeah.
You know, thank you. Like, you don't have to do it by yourself. Like, I get it. You're strong. You're independent. You don't want to, you know, depend on people. Yeah. And that's great. That's a great attitude to have.
Because it used to work for her. That's the thing. It no longer serves her.
No, because it's stressful. I mean? And she's stressing out and all this. And that, because that weighs a toll on you.
Yes, right.
Like, so everybody needs help. I need help. Like, I know I do a lot of things myself, but I get help in other ways. Yeah,
but it makes life richer, you know, because it's like we help ourselves and then we appreciate the support and the camaraderie and the bond, you know, that we have with each other. And it just makes life so much richer.
It does.
We do, you know.
Absolutely. So I'm glad to hear that. And that, you know, your mom, she's amazing. She sounds amazing.
Yeah, she is.
I love that story. She was like, "What you need? Open microwave? Here, it's open.
It's
What's
open.
next? What else?
Right?
You need?
What you crying for? You know?" And it wasn't in an insensitive way.
No, it wasn't.
It was like
real facts. Like,
yes, facts. That's what we call this.
You need to open? Here you go. It's open. What else you need?
Yeah, and she just went around the house like, "What? Okay, what else?"
That's
you know,
funny.
Yeah, very, very helpful.
No, but I mean, it's it's real though.
Yes.
Like I love just that attitude of hers. Like, I got you.
Yeah.
Like, what are you worrying about? I got you.
Right, and it was solid. Yeah. It was solid. So
and genuine.
Yes.
100%.
Yeah.
I love that. So now, so what's next for you?
You know what? I've been missing. I started the school before, and I feel like it was time. The stress was getting to me. I was getting sicker. You know, like the relapses were getting a bit more intense, and so to let the stress go, I figured, okay, after COVID, I don't know, I can't contend with these rules. Like, they can't come in sniffling. How do they go? They're always sniffling. You know, kids, they come in all the time sniffling. They go, you know, I just didn't know how to keep up with those rules. So I said, okay, we're gonna take it as a sign, you know, let it go. And now I find myself missing that, you know, that dynamic. And so I really wanted to do a summer program with the kids, because I'm very crafty. I like crafting with them. And it's just maybe like a craft club, you know, just where I still tutor. So I still have a couple of my students that wanted to stay with me. I tried to refer them out, you know, as our plan B for our fallout plan for the school. So I had schools to refer them out, and a couple of kids said, well, you know, I want to just kind of stay. So I homeschool them still. And so I still want to exercise that, you know, that idea and just and work with kids over the summer and incorporate my crafting, my thrifting, you know, upcycling. So I'm working on now. I turned 40 this year, so working on just only doing what lights me up. Like, and that's what lights me up. Like, only doing what gives me joy. And I've been, since I made that decision, I feel like I've been thriving. Right. You know, like, so that's what's next. That's what's next. Like, I really want to get back to what is what really, really brings me joy, and that's working with kids in my crafting arts.
Right. And you know, that's one of the questions that I ask when I because I coach Wellbeing too, and that's one of the questions that I ask people, like, especially like the students, when they want to do something or they're in a depressed mode, right? I always ask them, okay, well, let's think back to when you was at your best. How did that make you feel? Right. Let's go to that moment. Like, what did you smell? What did you hear? Like, what did you feel? Let's go back to that sensation. Yeah. Let's go back to that, and let's move forward from there.
Yeah. I love that. I love that. Mine is like, look what I made.
Yeah. You know.
You know, when you're little, like, look what I did.
Yeah. When you can get to your best self, then you're definitely thriving. Yeah. You know, and even having the mindset of what we talk about in well-being, you're always going to go through struggles, right? but you can struggle well. Like, so I feel like you understand that, right? Like, you understand that you still have, symptoms, and it's still there, but you're going to have the struggles, but you're struggling well.
Yeah.
Is what in well-being, what we say. You're struggling well. If you're thriving, you're struggling well.
Yeah.
Because there's no perfect days. Like, it's going to be up and downs.
Yeah.
But if you can thrive and struggle well, then life is beautiful.
Yeah, I agree. And learning the lessons, I think it's start talking about what makes life rich, like you, and I'm learning what wisdom is,
Yeah.
and I'm learning that it's what I thought I knew I have to relearn because I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
And then I'm learning how to apply, like, okay, we make mistakes or things happen that we don't like. What am I learning? That's what lights me up too. Like,
Yeah.
what can I take from this? I don't care what it is. What am I taking from this? I got to take something, and then how do I apply it? So I'm no longer focused on the problem, but what's coming next.
Yeah.
How do I apply this solution? If I see it, and if I don't see the solution, let me ask. Let me research it. Let me wait until it comes to me. And it was a challenge to get there. I know it seems like it's easier said than done, but it took me a while to get to that point where I can sit and be like, I'm going to be good. I was good before. I'm going to be good now.
All right.
You know what I mean? So I know it's easier said than done, but for sure the challenges can light you up too.
No,
you know what I mean?
They could, and it's, and I want to tell the story real quick, because the other day I was talking to one of my, my training manager. And I was telling him about an incident that happened, right? And I was honest with him. Like, I'm always honest with him because he's such a great dude, and me and him have great conversations. And he's very positive. And I was honest about something I said to a kid. Like, it wasn't nothing like bad, but my approach, like a small approach, was a little off. And I was honest about it, right? And I asked him, I said, what would you have done differently? He was like, oh, no, you did everything correctly. He was like, just that one little thing. He said, I wouldn't have probably done that, right? And he was like, thank you for being honest about it to me. And I was like, well, if I'm not honest about what I said, how can I get guidance from you and get help? And how can I learn from it? Right. I'm not going to leave that part out and just hear you say, oh, yeah, you handled it perfectly, because that's not the truth.
Right. But you see what I'm saying, though, in that moment, it's like you kind of lean in. It's like, yeah, I made a mistake, but I'm leaning in because I want to know. Exactly. Next time, like, what do I do? Now I'm learning something. Yeah, we lean in when we learn,
No matter how old I get, I'm not perfect. I'm going to make mistakes. And I'm constantly on a growth mindset. Like, even though I know we live in the space of growth mindset and fixed mindset, we live in both worlds, depending on the situation, but I'm constantly wanting to grow. Like, I want to grow tomorrow. I want to be better than I was yesterday. Right. So when I said that to him, he was like, dude, Mike, this is why I love you. He was like, thank you for always being honest. Yeah. Like, man, like, that's how you grow. Yeah. Like, if I made a mistake, I got to be honest about it. Yeah. You got to accept it. Right. You got to fail to get to failure. I mean, you got to fail to get to success. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's what I'm trying to teach kids. Like, dude, it's okay. Be honest. Yeah. Like, you messed up. Let's learn from it.
Yeah, right.
Take accountability.
Yeah.
Learn from your mistakes. And that's how you grow. I respect anybody who can sit there and be like, you know what? I messed up. Yeah. Now let's learn from it.
Mm-hmm. Right. Right. And that's the thing too. And then not having to over-explain or even having to explain that you learned it. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's tricky. Mm-hmm. It's a slippery slope, like going back to the habit of people pleasing, where you get the urge to say, oh no, I did because I did this. And then you remember, you notice. I understand. Right. And my favorite line is I understand that, I saw that, and God has dealt with me. Mm-hmm. You know 100%. What I mean? I've dealt with that. I've been dealt with, and I dealt with it. So it's okay.
Man, I know we out of time right now. I went way over than I said, but I told you once we get talking, I said it was going to go over. But thank you, Tia, so much. I'm glad I sat here and finally got to sit and talk with you and hear your story and hear all the educational lessons that I just learned from you in the beginning. No, seriously.
I appreciate it.
You really do need your own talk show.
Thank you.
Because you have a lot of wisdom, and your voice needs to be heard, and your voice needs to be out there because people need to listen to this type of stuff.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah. That's awesome. Right.
Thank you again. You guys go visit Tia B.
Thriftin.
And come visit her at Pretty Little Poppy. She's here, most days. I don't know your schedule, but
yeah, Wednesdays I'm here. Just ask for me. They'll know when I'll be back.
Yeah, just ask for Tia. Just come Pretty Little Poppy. She'll be here. All right. Anyway, thank you again. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
And good luck with everything. Good luck with the schooling.
Thank you so much.
Yes. I hope that works out for you because I know
you.
you're pretty amazing at it because you got a lot of knowledge.
Thank you.
And you need to spread that. And we out of here, you guys.